Welcome to Car Talk, where we talk everything about car. Today, let us talk about this, the entry-level BMW. It's 2025 now with plenty of options available in the market. So, is there still a reason for us to purchase an entry-level BMW? Let's find out. Over the years, BMW is a sign for success and it's a sign for automotive enthusiasts, especially for those young professionals or those that made it in life. There comes a time where BMW decided to enter the entry-level market by introducing vehicles that are slightly more affordable, namely the BMW 1 Series. Before the introduction of BMW 1 Series, BMW actually attempted to enter this entry-level market by releasing a more compact version of BMW 3 Series. It's namely called the BMW 3 Compact, if I'm not mistaken. Then after that, they found success on that particular vehicle. Then they have decided to create an all-new model lineup, so-called 1 Series, back in 2004. So in 2004, they releases the E-Chassis 1 Series, which is a rear-wheel drive BMW. We call it the true BMW. Then in 2011, it comes the F20, which for once, I like that particular model very much. Then it came the previous generation BMW 1 Series F40, where BMW has done something quite controversial. They have give up the rear-wheel drive layout for the front-wheel drive configuration, which is a scene in BMW. But apparently, a lot of consumers doesn't really care about the layout, no matter it's front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Previous generation BMW 1 Series or 2 Series actually managed to score a quite good sales result, especially in Malaysia, whereby they managed to sell more than 4,000 units of them overall the model lifespan. Then here comes the 4th generation BMW 1 Series, codenamed F70, which is just released last year, end of last year. Let's find out what is special about this car, and is there still a reason for you to spend over 240,000 on an entry-level BMW, which is not faster nor more luxury. As you know, BMW are famously known for making models more complicated. For example, this generation BMW 2 Series is no longer using the initial I. It's solely called 218 or 220 or 235, depends on the version internationally, albeit at the moment Malaysia only have 218 without the siglum I. Then the next thing is this a 1 Series or is this a 2 Series? For a hatchback, it is a 1 Series. For a Gran Coupé, it is a 2 Series. Then for the rear-wheel drive coupe, it is also a 2 Series. As you know, the enthusiast's favorite, the most compact M car ever, the M2, is also called a 2 Series, but that is a 2 Series coupe. This is a 2 Series Gran Coupe. This is a front-wheel drive. That is a rear-wheel drive. Just to make things a lot more complicated. Now let's talk about the exterior design of this generation, codenamed F70 generation of BMW 1 Series. As we all might aware of, and I guess we all quite aware of what BMW design team is capable of doing. And there is a joke saying that BMW designers are good at designing cars that are beautifully looking, yet they never made it into production. My personal favorite will be the M3 CSL concept or the 2002 Homage. In my opinion, yet they never made it into production. Go to this. If you look at the exterior wise, you will find it controversial as well. For example, the kidney grille. For example, lines here that goes all the way here. And you have this dimple here. Personally, I do feel like I need some time to get used on the exterior of this BMW. Exterior wise, personally, I still favor the old BMW more. Let me know what you think. A little bit sorry about this BMW exterior. This BMW exterior is actually designed by the head of BMW exterior designer, Jose Rosas. So I will post his Instagram here. You can look at his portfolio. There are a number of controversial BMW that he designed before. For example, the XM and the X4, if I'm not mistaken. BMW is really good at doing this. If you have been paying attention to the BMW news recently, they have recently released the newer Class A, new generation of BMW iX3 and possibly the next generation 3 Series. I think a lot of old BMW enthusiasts will find it a little bit hard to accept. But it is a thing of BMW, so let me know what do you think. I know there are a lot of people saying that the exterior look like some certain Korean brand, whatnot, so I will let you say in the comment section. So you have just heard from me that this car is a front-wheel drive BMW, and let's look at the suspension setup and the wheel size combination of this vehicle. Underneath this 18-inch wheel, it's wrapped with 225/45 R18 Goodyear Eagle F1 tires, and the suspension setup is rather interesting. Front wheel undoubtedly is a very typical McPherson strut suspension, and the rear suspension of this vehicle uses what the BMW call 3-link multi-link suspension. BMW in their press release has been emphasizing on the ride and handling building quality of this vehicle. Quoting from BMW press release, it can strike a perfect balance between sporty and fun to drive, yet does not compromise the comfortable of driving Japan a continental car. So let's find out later. Then let's talk about the engine bay. Inside this engine bay, you can see a very typical FF layout, a front-wheel drive front engine layout, transversely mounted engine. The engine itself, it's what we have been known for. It's a B38 engine 3-cylinder turbo with a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Is there a mild hybrid on this vehicle? No. It's a good old front-wheel drive, pure ICE engine car, 1.5 litre 3-cylinder with 7-speed dual clutch transmission. You can see the layout is very typical. For the engine output, this engine able to produce 140 horsepower and 220 Newton meter of torque. 0 to 100 take a mediocre 8.7 seconds, and the top speed is 213 km per hour. According to the BMW press release again, they emphasize on efficiency rather than performance for this engine. For example, they use a Miller cycle, combustion cycle rather than the Otto cycle or Atkinson cycle in that sense. Then other than that, I can say there's nothing much that I can share with you on the engine bay. This is a 218 after all, it's just an entry-level BMW. So shall we find out what is special about the interior? Before we get into the car, let's take a short moment to look at the rear profile, the side profile of this vehicle. And looking at the rear profile, you will notice very sleek roofline and a very clean side profile. So if you're looking at the side profile, there's only a few character lines here. One that goes through from here all the way and it somewhat disappeared. Then you follow by this that start from here, that forms a quarter panel line. And last but not least, the most interesting line is this. All the way from here, okay, then it connects to the rear boot here. Is it an aggressive side profile or is it a typical BMW side profile? Again, I will let you to judge it. For BMW design, there's one key element. They call it the Hofmeister King at the C pillar here. So at here, BMW designer tried to be fancy on it and they put the model line up here too, at here. So it's quite a nice touch. Then moving to the rear portion of the vehicle, if the logo has been covered, it does look quite deja vu to the other competitor, namely the Air 200. Comment below to let me know if you agree or disagree. Let's look at the tail lamp element. Okay, it's still BMW. Then, because this is an entry level 218, it also does not have actual exhaust pipes. That is reserved for the higher performance M Sport variant only. Looking at the boot, being a practical sedan, it does have a very big boot, a practical layout of 410 liters. In the other country that offered the higher variant, for example the 220, the boot size is slightly smaller. But for ours, we get a bigger boot size. With a price to pay, of course, BMW does not offer spare tire, so there is no spare tire in here. It does only have a spare tire repair kit stored somewhere here. For the BMW 1 Series that are currently offered in other market, not in Malaysia though, the door that they offer is a frame door, but being a Gran Coupe version, it does have a unique selling point of frameless door. So you can see that in a way it's rather sexy. I personally is a sucker for frameless door. Then next thing you will notice is, you just look at the door itself, you can notice that this door card is extremely thick, no matter it's the front or the rear. So just a little bit fun fact about BMW 2 Series. So you have known the sexy door cards and the sexy frameless door whatnot, and now it's time for you to know what is the price to pay for having this door here, the thick door card. So I am 100 centimeter tall and about 100 kg weight, so I'm a full-grown adult, and let me tell you what. Yes, the rear seat barely fits me. Is there any headroom left? No, my head is touching the roof lining. And despite there is a armrest here, and it's wrapped in nice organza, vegan leather, whatnot, I can't say this rear cabin is comfortable. Granted, BMW 218 or 1 Series, it's an executive subcompact car, so it was not meant to be big or comfortable, but this rear seat, if you are considering something that can sit 4 adults comfortably, I believe you can ignore this option, because I'm quite sure nobody will feel happy sitting on the rear seat for a long road trip, and the rear seat is not even my driving position. So if it's my driving position, it will be worse. Then let's talk about the amenities at the rear seat. What do you get in the rear seat is 2 aircon vents, 2 USB-C, some cup holders, and that's it. There's not even a door pocket here. It's a entry-level BMW after all. So now let's talk about the front seat of this BMW 218. And as you can see, BMW actually uses a new language in this 4th generation BMW 2 Series or 4th generation BMW 1 Series, depends on how you understand it. The most visible changes is, you can look at here, it does not have that gear knob anymore, nor the iDrive knob. So that signature party piece of BMW is in this generation. All it replaced with is this little fumbly thing to change gear, and one volume knob, which is quite common in the BMW i Series. You to get a wireless charging pad here, and one tray for you to some sort of tidbits here. This is quite interesting. The aircon vent is no longer adjusted by the vent itself, but they have this mechanism here, and that's about that. So how do you adjust the aircon? You need to control it via the touchscreen. The bad news is it's touchscreen. The good news is the layout is constantly at the bottom of the screen, so it reduces the confuse adjusting your aircon. For the front seat, it's not too shabby. It just feels a little bit narrow, but it's not that claustrophobic as the rear seat. So the front seat, no matter it's the left seat or the right seat, is both electronically adjustable, and it does come with this thigh support. It also does come with easy access. So for example, let me demonstrate. If a safety belt is being released, it will slightly reduces to the rear for you to easy ingress and egress. So yeah, when you're talking about the front seat, does it feel premium or luxury as before? I personally doesn't think that, but in the sea of competitor, this cabin is slightly more premium compared to its competitor. For example, the Mercedes-Benz A200 as per se, but it is not really that premium compared to what they offered previously. Again, that's just my opinion. Then let's look at the glove box. Yep, cup holders here. So all in all, it's a decent front seat cockpit with this BMW virtual cockpit screen, a curved screen display, very beautiful. But head-up display, no. ACC, no. It does have some basic ADAS feature and smart side parking assist feature, but other than that, just keeps on reminding you that this is an entry-level BMW. So it does come with this BMW OS, where you can control your car via phone, whatnot. But other than that, there's not much to shout about in the interior. So I guess it's not all good news, isn't it? So let's do a comprehensive startup test, and let's not forget that this is actually a 3-cylinder engine. For those who are into continental cars and BMW, you are not, I'm quite sure you are quite familiar with this 3-cylinder engine, especially this B38. The more famous one will be B48 and B58, which is a 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder version that are used in the Supra and the M340i whatnot. Most importantly, we need to know if the 3-cylinder engine, when start up, does it clatters or does it create some unpleasant feeling. So let's do it. Okay, so I will let you to judge if that clatter is acceptable or not. So let's go for a drive. But before we go for a drive, I would like to talk about the ergonomics of BMW. And you can see that because this screen is a curved screen, everything is quite easy to touch in a sense. And despite the aircon control that uses touchscreen, I still despise this. I still don't like it. But BMW solution is actually one of the few that are considered elegant, that do not put the buttons and clatters into a millions of menu. To deactivate the annoying auto stop, you have to swipe down and go to here and just do that. Because this car does not have a number of ADAS, it only has some LKA and some auto smart parking, 360 camera, whatnot. So it does not have much item to be adjusted. So let me show you here. If we go to the vehicle settings here, for example, we go to the system setting, there's not much for you to set actually. Okay, for this car, because it's an entry level, again, it doesn't have much to be set. Then let's go to the driving setting. You can see that it's not much. Driving assistance only have front collision warning, lane departure warning. All you can do is just on and off. Okay, there's no minor adjustment, but because this does not have ADAS, so that doesn't really matters. Then because this is a BMW, driving is the most important part of this vehicle. And as same with all BMW, it does have 3 driving modes. So you have personal, sport and efficient. When you go to personal, there's not much you can adjust either. Then sport When you go inside, you can set the drivetrain, the dynamics, steering, whatnot. Then you can go to efficient, where everything will be in the more laid-back manner. And again, there's not much you can set here. Okay, so yeah, something is better than nothing. I have to say this screen is quite crisp and clear. There's not much latency. So let's go for a drive, and I will begin with efficient mode. So when you're going to efficient mode, you can see the screen here. It does have this special theme. When we go to sport, you do have this theme, and if you go to personal, it will have another theme. Okay, and if you do not like all those, you still can adjust the screen via the button here, and you can go to adjust the content, whatnot. Okay, I would prefer a clean cut method, so you can also go for this where it show more. So it's all up to you. This is something that BMW good about. Okay, let's go for a drive. So let's talk about how does it drive, especially on a highway scenario. Because let's face it, BMW is a German brand that we have Autobahn, and they need to be feeling good, especially driving on highway. And coupled with this car actually runs on a rather interesting combo of 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine and a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. And it does not have this flappy pedal gearbox, so I cannot select what gear I am. So I am highly relying on the engine and the gearbox fuzzy logic. So I will let the engine and the gearbox to decide what is the best gear for me in a given scenario. So you can see that kick down in an efficient. So yep. If you heard what I have introduced earlier in the mechanical section, you will know that this car, it's not exactly fast. Okay, it's just enough. It's just sufficient. But it does not hamper the fact that this is still a BMW. This is still a entry-level BMW. It does feel a little bit of composed. If you like to drive cars, if you know how to drive a manual, you will know what gear to use in a given scenario. And for this car, it actually able to do it. So it actually understands what I want without I interfering it, and that's the good part, and that's the great part of traditional car manufacturer. So you can see that I'm in efficient mode now. The car just glides. I'm quite sure you can hear a little bit hint of tire noise, whatnot, but that's not too bad. What is good about the driving feel of this car that you cannot see on the camera is the road feedback and the steering preciseness. For some reason, I do not know why, BMW have opted to give this car a very fast and precise steering. A little bit of numb on the feedback side, but it's fast nonetheless. You can see I just need to move a little bit of my hand, okay, and the front of the car just darts to it. The front McPherson strut suspension, even though on paper it looks boring, but coupled with a well set up damper and a responsive steering rack, it is actually quite fun to drive. And the rear suspension of this car uses a 3-beam multi-link. For that, there are some people who argue it's always better than the torsion beam, whatnot. I will let you judge yourself. But for me, what I feel driving this car is the front of the car will go into the corner and the rear will follow with a hint of stability. So if you ever driven a long wheelbase front wheel drive car, you will know what I'm saying. But it's not all bad news. It's actually quite predictable, controllable, and rather pleasant to drive. I wouldn't call it as fun or as exciting, but it's quite pleasant. You can see it climbs up speed quite easily, despite we are in efficient mode, and it just glides at 160 km/h. That is the wind noise that you can get. This is still undeniably a BMW that can effortlessly cruise at the no speed limit Autobahn German. But if you are expecting a car that can give Golf GTI a run for its money, I don't think this is the car. But you can always experience it, a little bit of it, via the sport mode. So what the sport mode do is it holds gear more longer. You can look at the RPM. It just holds at 3,000 to 4,000 RPM. to give you the 200 plus Newton meter torque all the time. And most of the time, it's actually more than enough. So you can see that this. Hear the noise. Feel the gear shift. So, yep. As an entry-level BMW, I'm great to report that it still drives like a BMW. Not the sporty or the hot BMW, but it still drives like a BMW. And what is the most important part to tell when it drives like a BMW is you always wanted to floor your throttle. And you always wanted to push the car. Yeah. And that's the reason why a lot of BMW drivers are aggressive. You can't blame them. BMW does have this characteristic of make you feels like wanting more. For this, I am happy to report this car is still a BMW. Partially, it would be better if it's a rear-wheel drive though, but it is what it is. So in conclusion, is there still a reason for you to spend over 200,000 on an entry-level BMW? Let's look at the tagline here. BMW sure driving pleasure. So BMW is something that signifies sure driving pleasure back then, and they are somewhat actually true nowadays. But the problem is, at our current age, consumers are lacking of interest when it comes to driving pleasure. More so when you do not educate them or let them know what is interesting about driving, what is the fun part about driving. BMW does need an entry-level product to educate people and to make them fall in love with BMW. Or at least that's their strategy. So their strategy was, if you are interested in BMW because of the brand image, you may begin with the entry-level 218. Then once you fall in love with a BMW, how does it drive? Then only you will learn what is the fun of driving a front-wheel drive car. Then slowly you will like to explore more into the rear-wheel drive car, and perhaps you will upgrade your 2 Series to a 3 Series, to a 5 Series, or even a BMW M Series. That is their strategy. From my perspective, especially I am a self-proclaimed automotive enthusiast, I will feel that this car is lacking of some BMW essence. It's like McDonald's but did not sell Big Mac. It's like KFC but they do not sell fried chicken. But in terms of the business reality, you need to make them walk into your shop and purchase your product prior promoting what you think is the best. It's the same story at Porsche. Porsche, when they releases Porsche Cayenne, a lot of automotive enthusiasts despise that. But the fact was, Porsche made money by selling Cayenne and they lose money by making 911s. So yeah, that is the fact. But back to the topic. In 2025, is there still a reason for you to spend over 200,000 on an entry-level German executive compact car? If you ask me, yes, I will pick this over majority of EV nowadays, simply because there is something unique about driving an ICE car with a pure mechanical feedback that goes through the spine and let you feel the sure driving pleasure. Even though it's the entry level, but still, it's better than some soulless EV, or that's my opinion. So do you agree with my opinion? Leave a comment below and let me know what do you think. If you like what we are doing, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you on the next one.